Love, Judy.
I'm Jessica Dupart. A lot of people know me as Judy. I am the owner of Kaleidoscope Hair Products. To date, the company's probably made close to $40 million. Also birthed Kaleidoscope Realty, Kaleidoscope Management, Kaleidoscope Cares, Kaleidoscope Shipping and Receiving. Yeah, all of that.
The energy in the room changed as soon as DA Bratz entered the studio. Typically, she was the one who'd demanded attention with her strength, self-assurance, and commanding presence. However, something wasn't right today. Raw emotion took the place of her normal poise. Furthermore, she appeared exhausted due to more than simply the lighting. Something that had been bothering her for months, if not years, was going to come to light. Brat was finally telling the public the truth about her terrible divorce from Judy today. It wasn't just the cameras who witnessed Brat's emotional collapse on live television. Everything came tumbling down at that point. All the barriers she had erected over the years. She had always been viewed by the public as tough, even, and unbreakable. However, that reputation was destroyed on this particular day when she candidly acknowledged that the person she trusted the most had taken her by surprise. Brat broke. The hush as the cameras rolled. With her voice breaking, she added, "I never thought it would come to this. But sometimes love just isn't enough." The audience could feel the impact of her remarks as the walls collapsed in that moment. Sitting in front of millions of people, the woman who had always been renowned for her fortitude and unwavering will had tears streaming down her cheeks. It wasn't an attention-seeking wail. It was an exclamation for freedom. Brat has endured this suffering on his own for far too long. She was now sharing her worst pain with everyone in this unfiltered moment. I was unwilling to accept it. Refusing to cry, Brat went on. I didn't want to believe that she was capable of such a betrayal. However, it ended when I realized the reality. It was too late to turn back. Her remarks were a revelation about the moment when trust was totally destroyed, not only about a relationship ending. Brat had devoted her entire life to Judy. She was now letting go of the person who had meant the world to her in front of the cameras. The public has always believed that Brat and Judy's love was a beautiful fairy tale. Fans had praised the pair for their seeming love and connection, but behind closed doors, things weren't as perfect as they appeared. Brat believed that their emotional separation had been deepening for months or even years. She initially thought it was just a hard patch and didn't want to accept that it was actually happening. But after a while, it was hard to ignore. Judy, who had previously been caring and supportive, started to exhibit resentment. After a productive day, Brat would return home feeling pleased of her achievements to discover Judy estranged, resentful, and unhelpful. As her career progressed, Brat observed a change in Judy, a change from awe to jealousy. Brat recalled that I could see it in her eyes. It was no longer just about us. She was unable to cope with the fact that it was about me succeeding. What DA Brat had once thought was a solid collaboration was now degenerating into a poisonous atmosphere, and her success only served to widen the gap between them. Brat stated, I wanted to share everything with her, in an emotionally charged tone. More than anything, though, it seemed like she couldn't bear to watch me succeed. Their relationship began to deteriorate when it became apparent that Judy couldn't manage her success. When Brat ultimately decided to break up with Judy, it wasn't a simple decision. However, she secretly felt that she couldn't continue to live in a relationship where her accomplishments were greeted with bitterness and insecurity. It was no longer about love. Brat acknowledged, I needed someone who would be there for me, share in my victories, and encourage me to pursue my goals. Judy was harming Brat's career by continuously disparaging her achievements and refusing to recognize her achievements. Brat didn't need anyone to hold her back because she had always held herself to high standards. Judy was unable to cope with my achievement. Brat spoke in a voice that was both clear and painful. She was unable to accept me as an equal. She felt threatened by my development. Furthermore, I didn't need that kind of connection. Brat didn't decide to leave because he was angry or spiteful. It was about realizing her own value and realizing that she was entitled to more. She claimed that instead of making me feel bad about succeeding, I wanted someone who could encourage me and be proud of me. I had to let her go for that reason. Brat had suffered emotionally as a result of Judy's insecurity. the conflicts, and the growing gap between them weren't the only things at play. It was the persistent sense that she needed to prove herself, even to the person who was meant to be her staunchest ally. Brat said, "It started to feel like I wasn't enough," in a shaky voice. She wouldn't be satisfied with anything I accomplished. It's a burdensome emotion to bear in a partnership. Brat had consistently been the one to persevere and get past challenges, but Judy's continuous doubts and criticism eroded her spirit. "I desired a partner who admired me and encouraged me to improve," Brat went on. "But rather, I felt like I was always treading carefully because I was scared to be too obvious." Success in the workplace wasn't the only factor. It was about having the confidence to share her accomplishments without feeling guilty or afraid of criticism. That was never the case with Judy, though. Brat suffered emotionally from constantly feeling inadequate or less than. After a while, it became evident that she couldn't stay in that poisonous atmosphere. One evening, Brat decided she could no longer deny the fissures in their relationship, which was the last straw. Brat was thrilled to tell Judy about a significant career achievement when he got home, but she was aloof and unsupportive. "I realized I couldn't continue doing this," Brat remarked. "I had just accomplished something huge and all I wanted was for her to be happy for me, but instead she made me feel like I had to apologize for my success." That night, Brat thought about everything. The affection they had experienced together, the transformation of their relationship, and the emotional toll it was having on her. At that point, I understood that I couldn't continue to give up myself for someone who didn't stand by me. "I had to choose myself," Brat said. "I had to decide between my future and my happiness." One of the toughest things Brat had ever done was to decide to leave, but she knew it was the correct choice. She whispered, "I have to let go, and I've never done something as difficult as that." Public outrage was triggered when Brat disclosed the cause of her split from Judy. Many fans, particularly those who had long respected the two women's friendship, were surprised to learn the reality of the divorce. Fans had been observing Brat and Judy as the ideal couple for years, frequently posting on social media about their love and connection. They came to represent conquering challenges together. Their chemistry was indisputable, and many people loved their love. However, fans' romanticized perception of them was destroyed when Brat revealed the heartbreaking reasons behind their breakup. Fans were left wondering what had gone wrong after hearing the news. How could something so flawless finish so suddenly? What transpired behind closed doors that resulted in this devastating outcome? Many people who had supported their relationship were left in shock and struggling to accept the truth of what had happened. It was evident how confused they were, as some followers expressed their disbelief on social media. "It's unbelievable that she had to endure that." Many people who had followed the couple's journey, feeling deeply for Brat in the wake of such a painful revelation, echoed the sentiment, one fan wrote on Twitter. It was hard to accept that someone they had supported and revered could go through such heartbreak, but Brat's support was evident. The admirer expressed sympathy for Brat's emotional difficulties by writing, "I can't believe she had to go through that." Fans continued to voice their hurt and indignation over what had transpired on social media. "She deserves someone who will lift her up, not tear her down," said a different follower. Many people's feelings were encapsulated in this straightforward phrase. Supporters gathered around Brat, demonstrating their steadfast devotion and reaffirming that she deserved love that would uplift rather than depress her. The discovery that Brat had been in a relationship where her success was not completely embraced added to the anguish of the circumstance. Another prominent aspect in the public's reaction surfaced as the breakup specifics became clear. Judy is disappointing. Fans quickly vented their annoyance, asking how someone who professed to love their partner could abandon them during their prosperous period. Judy ought to have been her strongest support system. This comment, simple but powerful, reflected a sentiment shared by many, one admirer wrote. Brat's disclosure sparked more than just pity or fury. It sparked a larger discussion on relationships, personal development, and the demands of success. The dissolution of Brat and Judy's relationship became a metaphor for the difficulties that many individuals encounter in their own relationships for a large number of admirers. The pressure to maintain a positive, supportive relationship while juggling personal development and accomplishment brings into sharp relief. Success, especially when it comes from hard effort, can occasionally strain a relationship's dynamics. There are situations when one partner's success breeds competitiveness, insecurity, or jealousy. It calls into question whether partners can develop together and how they handle these difficulties. More than simply one public split was the catalyst for this crisis. It sparked a conversation on achievement, love, and the value of support in partnerships. It served as a reminder to fans that love ought to be a source of strength rather than weakness, and that the cornerstone of any long-lasting relationship is respect and support for one another. The future was unclear for DA Brat, but one thing was guaranteed. Her followers were there for her no matter what, supporting her as she moved forward on her path to recovery and development. The public's reaction went beyond simple pity. It served as a reminder that everyone is worthy of receiving a love that uplifts them, inspires them to aim high, and stands by them through every challenge. Brat was concentrating on getting better now that she was no longer seeing Judy. Brat knew she had to take charge of her destiny, even though it wasn't easy and the path ahead was unclear. She said, "I'm finding peace. Even if it's challenging, I know I'm acting in my own best interests." Brat was learning to value herself and accept her accomplishments, and she wasn't going to let anyone take those things away from her ever again. "I'm improving myself." According to Brat, the most crucial thing at the moment is that I'm rediscovering who I am. Brat was prepared to take the initial steps toward a better, more satisfying future, even though the mending process would take time. She grinned and remarked, "I've never been stronger, and I'm ready for whatever comes next." Brat's journey extended beyond her split from Judy. It was about taking back her own authority and learning to always stand tall. "Love is hard," stated Brat. "However, your love for yourself is the most significant kind of love. And I'm getting to know that every day." Brat is not merely letting go of the past as she goes forward. She is looking forward to the future with renewed courage and self-assurance. With determined eyes, Brat declares, "I'm prepared to face whatever life throws at me. This is only the start." Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video if you were moved by Brat's tale. Please share your opinions in the comment section below. How do you feel about her path? We would adore hearing from